What's good, creative fam? Brandon Washington here, and today we are jumping into another behind the scenes breakdown. You guys have actually really been enjoying these videos, and as you guys know, business has been pretty busy around the B-Wash Media production company, so these have been kind of my favorite to produce for you guys, but also they're just the easiest to produce, and a lot of you guys have been telling me about how much you've enjoyed them and how much you've learned from them. So if you guys have questions about more production related stuff, how we shoot, lighting, audio, things like that, definitely be sure to add those questions down in the comment section. But today we're going to be talking about a tool that I kind of shied away from using, but I quickly realized how beneficial it could be on set. So I've been doing these projects for a certain client, and we've been doing a lot of them. We've been shooting close to like 12 projects a month for this client, and they have been pretty particular about the way that we shoot these projects. Now, whenever you have clients that are pretty particular, I never take it as like a negative thing. I just like to think that these clients just really like to be hands-on to make sure that the project goes the way they want it to. And ultimately, that's my job too. My job is to create something that they will ultimately be proud of. And so when having clients on set, something that you can absolutely use that will save your life is a wireless monitor. Now, there are a lot of different wireless monitors out there on the scene. I've tried out lots of different monitors. I've tried lots of different transmitters, and I've actually made quite a few different videos kind of talking about a few of the options here on the channel. But recently, a company that I've worked with before, Portkeys, reached out to me and let me know that they were releasing a brand new monitor and that it was gonna have some really unique features that were gonna help make the wireless transmitting process that much easier. And spoiler alert, they did. So literally just yesterday, I was on a set with a client and I wanted to give them their own monitor, something to make it easy for them to be able to see what was going on. This was actually gonna save me in two fronts. First, it was actually gonna allow us to set up the scene a lot easier, because one of the hardest things when you're actually setting up a scene is trying to get your lighting and your props and everything all dialed in perfectly. And when you're having to run back and forth to the camera in order to actually see what you're building as far as the framing goes, that can be very difficult. And so having this monitor just sitting on a C-stand and being able to swivel it around in order to actually see how the way we moved lights and the way that we moved props in the background, how they worked, really made a huge difference. The other thing was our client was actually able to sign off and approve of the frame as we were filming. And this is huge because the last thing you want to do is get notes on the A frame, the main frame of your video, when your client is there, but you don't get that feedback until post-production. When they're there, they can sign off or tell you to make any additional changes that they're looking for. And this way, when you get to post-production, you can go into it with more confidence, knowing that your client has already signed off on the frame itself. But let's take a second and talk about the monitor itself that I've been personally using recently, and that is this Portkeys 7-inch monitor. Now, the specific monitor that I got was the Portkeys HS7T. Now, this is not just like some normal 7-inch monitor. It actually has a huge benefiting fact on the back of it, and that is the fact that you can attach wireless transmitters directly to this system. Now, this primarily works because the back of the system has a attachment that will work with any type of Sony NP-F battery. And so what you can do is attach your wireless transmitter to the back of this just like you were plugging in a battery, and then the monitor itself will deliver power to your wireless transmitter. This actually makes it very easy, so that way you don't have to rig it out in a cage. Now, personally, I still rigged mine out in a cage for reasons that I'll explain in just a moment, but the monitor itself actually has a way to power itself as well. You can plug in two Sony NP-F batteries to the back of this camera, and these batteries are hot swappable. So when you have two in, if one dies, you can take that one out and plug in the next one. So this allows you to have pretty much an endless cycle of power as long as you have enough batteries and chargers to get you through your shoot. Now, this reason is why I actually chose to rig mine out. So I've chosen to actually attach mine to a wooden camera director's monitor's cage, and the main reason being that I wanted to power my monitor off of V-mount batteries. Now, inside of the box itself, they do give you a D-tap cable, so you can do this, but this is super beneficial when using this monitor because this is a pretty professional style monitor. It not only has HDMI, but it also has SDI. And so pretty much any type of wireless transmitter that you may want to use with this, you're gonna be able to function with it because you have everything you need on the monitor itself. Now, a couple quick specs about how the monitor actually looks. Well, it can receive a 4K signal, but it is actually only a 1080p panel. So it's not gonna be the sharpest panel ever, but for $399, that's actually a lot being packed into this monitor. On top of that, this thing can reach a peak brightness of 1200 nits, and it does support HDR as well. So for a pretty reasonably priced monitor, especially for 7 inches, especially because it has the attachment for wireless transmitters, I think that this is actually a really solid monitor if you are looking for something to use for a director's monitor setup. Now, another nice little bonus is I did mention that this thing does have HDMI and SDI in and out. This means that it doesn't just have to be a director's monitor, it can also be used as just a monitor on camera. Now, sure, this monitor is pretty good, but there are a few things that I do wish that this monitor had. I mean, for one, I do wish that the actual display itself was 4K. It is a 1080p display, and so you can see that in the image, but again, it's just kind of a reference monitor. You're not gonna be using it for pulling focus too much probably, or really dialing in anything. It's really just kind of a bigger display. So yeah, I wish it was 4K. Also, I wish this thing had red control or some type of way of controlling my camera. Now, I know what you guys might be thinking. In a monitor like this, well, the only reason why I wish this monitor had it is because my other Portkeys monitor does. See, Portkeys actually makes a 5-inch monitor that has red control, it has SDI, and it has a touchscreen interface for changing settings on the monitor itself. These are all things that Portkeys has already done in a monitor. So what I would love to see is pretty much just like a 7-inch version of that monitor, but that also had a wireless transmitter adapter on the back. That's more so my wish list. I understand that this monitor is only $399, so you kind of get what you pay for, but if I were asking anything from Portkeys, it would be to bring a monitor like that in the future. For the price, the specs, and all the functionality built into this monitor, it's definitely gonna be my new on-set monitor, especially when working with clients. I just find that giving them their own monitor and their own screen, especially in today's time where we still need to do social distancing and we wanna make sure that our sets are safe for everyone, giving your client a monitor and a screen where they can see everything in decent quality and be able to sign off on what you're shooting in the moment versus hearing about it later in post, to me is definitely a huge win. So thank you so much to Portkeys for sending out this monitor. If you guys have questions about ways that I actually run my sets or anything particular, definitely leave those down in the comments so I can cover those in future videos. But thank you guys again so much for checking out this one, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.